Best frat story. Frank Lundy, best
Frank
frat story.
Lundy yeah, true.
Dude, that's a great question. That's a great question. But yeah, chat. So when I was at the ripe age, okay. When I was at the age of 19 years old, I just didn't need to include that first part. When I was at the ripe age of 19 years old, I went to college. I went to college in Utah. I went to Utah State, and I was part of a frat there for a little bit. I was part of a frat there called Sigma Phi Epsilon, and it was a beautiful, beautiful time. There was plenty of stuff I learned. Why did I join a frat? Why did I join a frat? You all may be asking. Well, oh wow, he's whitewashed. There we go. I joined a frat because it was the most uncomfortable thing for me to do. Because I am, believe it or not, I'm a bit of a performative male. Right? So yeah, I joined a frat, and what's my best story from that? Gosh. Okay. I was going on dates with a girl who we ended up going to a party for someone's birthday that I was invited to, and I was allowed to bring a +1. And then the girl I was seeing met somebody where the relationship didn't quite work out. And then that person tried really hard to hit it off with the person that I was seeing. And then on the car ride home, it was kind of awkward because they really wanted to be friends with my ex. And I didn't really know what to say there. Is that a W story? That there's better stories. There's better. Okay. Did you get hazed? Of course I got hazed. Everybody gets hazed. Yeah, you get treated like shit in your first bit. There was also, I wasn't supposed to talk about these while I was in the frat, but now that I'm out of the frat, I feel like I got some heat stories. When I was in the frat, there are these like phases you go through where you're either a Sigma, a Phi, or an Epsilon. So you start out as a Sigma. And I don't want any comments or people coming in the chat calling me Sigma. Okay, seriously. You start out as a Sigma or a Sig, and then you go Phi and Epsilon. And for one of the rituals, you have to almost fully unclothe. Like all you have on is like underwear, and then put a massive chain around your body, and then sit in front of the council of all the Phi and Epsilon members while the president of our fraternity basically dubbed you the next tier up. They dubbed you Phi. Holy Diddy. Don't say Diddy. Let me see a picture of this. I'm not showing you a picture. So that was an interesting experience. And the group that you talk to, it's Greek life. So the group that you talk to, there was like, we'll say 5 sororities, 5 fraternities. That's like 300 people minimum, if not like 400. So I was talking to like 300 to 400 people at that time, and having to like remember names, go to parties, whatever, act all cool, stuff like that. And it was wild. It was crazy. It was crazy. Holy humiliation ritual. That's true. That's true. What else do I got from back then? What else do I got? There's so much more. Every Monday, we would have business meetings where we would dress up in full suits, and I would wear mine for the whole day. And we would have our business meeting about stuff going on in the fraternity, right? And we would vote for people. There would be something called basically the council that... This sounds really stupid. There would be something called the council that if people did something wrong, they decided if you got suspended, expelled, anything like that. Anything like that. Why'd you leave the frat? Just wasn't for me after a while. Just wasn't for me. It was, they didn't really acknowledge mental health as a very important thing for most people. So I was like, oh, this is great, but I'm gonna move on to something else. Too many beers. Okay, that I didn't drink too many beers. Did you go to any like career fairs as a group? What an oddly specific question. Am I getting investigated? Or just Diddy parties? Proud of you. Thank you, Frank. Thank you. But yeah, they just didn't acknowledge mental health in the way that I thought was important and valuable. And I'm not one to go around or like stick around groups where they're like, oh, you have to fight to be a part of us. It's like, I was already like, I'm a part of your fraternity and this is what I think is important. I'm a valuable person on my own. So, but yeah, that's a great question, man. What else? What else in that frat? I convinced my buddy to join it. And we were like, buddy. And then after I left the frat, I was doing basically mindset coaching for a little bit. Do not call me cringe. I was stupid. I was doing coaching for a little bit for people a couple years ago, like teaching and coaching, and I was an ABA therapist. And I tried to reach out to them to just see if they would give me basically a testament of like who I am as a person. And they they all were like, yeah, I don't know who you are. Or like, how'd you get my number? And I was just, it was really awkward because like it was like a mutual exchange back in the day, and they all just said like, oh, I don't know, like, what are you doing, creep? And that just made me, it made me feel a little bit weird about myself. But yeah, that's that's some of the stories. There's more stories for sure. But oh my gosh, yeah, it was crazy. I met plenty of people. I definitely did my more frat side where I drank. I almost got blackout drunk one night with my big. And that was fun too. We'll tell that story too. One last story. Thanks for the stories. Appreciate it. Can't wait for more. We'll do one more, chat, okay? So, as a just general thing, I do not drink right now. Like, I don't drink or smoke or do any of that. And I'm not trying to enforce that on other people. That's just not what I do. And a big reason for that is in fraternities, when you initially join, you are assigned a big, which is like somebody who's been in the fraternity longer than you, who's like your kind of mentor. And I got probably one of the greatest people I've ever met as my big, and he was sick. We all know you vape. Okay. Focus. I don't vape. So I got a sweet big, and we were partying together. I ended up staying in the frat house. Gosh, there's so many stories here. I ended up staying in the frat house. And when I was staying there, it was like hot and there was no AC or anything like that. Okay. And I was staying there, and we had a party one night with just some sorority people and fraternity people, of course, that were at the bungalow. That's what our place was called. And I was like, I was kind of going crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, hey, could I get one more? Right? So like I got a glass, and yes, it was a red Solo cup. I did. It was a red Solo cup, and I drink it up. And then I talk to my big. I'd be like, yo, can I get one more? And he's like, absolutely, brother. Because he was hyped. Because I didn't drink that much. I would go to the gym like every morning at like 7 a.m. and I'd do my classes and stuff. And I wouldn't do anything like this. But I partied hard that night. It hit like 1 a.m. I was probably like 11 drinks deep. And this is not something I promote at all. I vomited my guts out at like 1:30 in the morning all the way to like 3. And then I went to my bed with a trash can to my left, and I just passed out. And ever since then, I haven't drank any alcohol whatsoever, dude. Whatsoever. It was so bad. So I learned, and I haven't drank since then. So alcoholism, yeah. Well, okay, to be clear, I didn't drink like consistently. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go all in tonight, try it out. And because everybody's like, oh, you should do this. I was in a fraternity, right? And then I was like, okay, I'm never doing this again. And guess what, chat? I still woke up at 6 a.m. the next morning and went to the gym. Can we get some W's in the chat? Actually. Can you show us your geek bar? Okay. 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 Goated. That's what I'm saying. Performative gym bro moment. Just show the geek bar. Okay, can we lock in? Gosh. Oh, restart. God damn it. All right, chat. Those are the stories. That's story time. That's story time for you. Show the hookah lounge. What does that mean? Hookah is a place in Valorant, no? Hookah, wait. Hookah's a place, wait.
You're not looking.
Don't look it up? What about hookah? Hookah in Valorant?
You'll recognize it. You'll be like, oh yeah, I always go to those. It's the kinds of places you've tried to get me to go, but I don't do that kind of thing.
Wait, what? Do I look it up or no?
Look up hookah lounge. Yeah.
I do not always try to get you to go here. I've never in my life tried. Okay. We're done.